I had just said he was my best friend into the microphone at my best friend's funeral when his father ripped me off the podium and slammed me into the front pew. The impact rattled my skull, and my eulogy note cards scattered across the church floor. Before I could process what was happening, his father was on top of me throwing punches while people screamed. "You don't get to speak about Henry," he roared. "You killed my son." Two ushers dragged him off of me while his wife pointed at me with a shaking finger. "Murderer," she whispered. Henry's brother stepped forward, his voice like ice. "We know you gave him the pills. We know you were there the night he died and did nothing." The funeral director suggested I leave before they called the police. I looked around at faces I had known my entire life, and they all stared at me like I was diseased. My own parents sat 3 rows back, and my father wouldn't meet my eyes. I left without a word. By morning, someone had spray painted "disgusting" across my car. The coffee shop where I worked fired me before I could walk through the door. My girlfriend left my things on her porch with a note saying never contact her again. When I tried to explain I had never given Henry pills, that I wasn't there when he died, people looked at me with such contempt I stopped trying. Then my parents sat me down and told me very calmly that I should move away until things settled down. My mother's hands shook while pouring coffee, and my father couldn't look at me. They never asked if I did it. I packed my car and drove until I hit a city where nobody knew my name. I got a warehouse job where nobody asked questions and slowly rebuilt something resembling a life. I made friends but kept everyone at a distance because how do you explain that your best friend died and everyone thinks you killed him? 5 years crawled by and the pain dulled into something manageable. But there was always this absence where Henry used to exist and where my family used to exist and where my entire history used to be. Last month I was moving apartments and packing my bookshelf when a poetry collection fell to the floor. Henry had given it to me for my birthday the year before he died. I had thanked him and shelved it and never opened it once. An envelope fell out when it hit the ground. My name was written on it in Henry's handwriting. The letter was dated 3 days before he died. "If you're reading this, something happened to me and you need to know the truth," it started. My hands shook holding the pages. Henry explained he had been volunteering at a care facility where he met a man named Joseph who had been paralyzed 20 years earlier in a hit and run. He described the whole night while I was helping with his physical therapy, Henry wrote. "A car jumped the curb and hit him. Multiple people got out and looked at him lying there. Then they got back in and drove away while he was screaming for help. I felt something cold settle in my stomach." The letter continued, and I read about how the details matched a specific night from our childhood, a night when both sets of parents went out together and came home acting strange and nervous, and told us never to talk about that evening again. "I confronted them," Henry wrote. "All 4 of them together. They admitted everything. My father had been driving and swerved onto the sidewalk. They all panicked seeing Joseph broken on the ground. Henry's parents convinced everyone to leave before police arrived because it would destroy their careers and families. They had kept that secret for 20 years, while Joseph lived in a wheelchair without justice or compensation, or even an apology. I told them they had to come forward and make this right," the letter said. "They begged me not to tell you. They said you didn't need to carry this. I agreed to stay quiet while I figured out what to do, because I didn't want to destroy you with this." Then the tone shifted, and my blood went ice cold. Strange things have been happening since I confronted them. My brakes failed on the highway, but the mechanic found nothing wrong. Someone followed me home twice. I keep getting calls in the middle of the night with just breathing on the other end. I don't know if I'm paranoid or if they're trying to scare me quiet, but I'm scared enough to hide this letter somewhere. You'll only find it if something happens to me. The final paragraph destroyed me. "If something happens and it looks like an accident or an overdose, you should know I've never touched that stuff in my life. Don't believe whatever they tell you. My parents have access to prescription medications through their work, and I wouldn't put it past them if they felt trapped. I hope you never have to read this, but if you do, you need to decide what to do with the truth. I won't be around to fight this battle." I sat on my apartment floor holding those pages in stunned silence. The vindication I had spent 5 years desperately needing meant nothing because my best friend had been murdered to keep me from ever getting it.